lakes are still pretty warm relatively. So when you bring some of that very cold air over that very warm lake water, things get very complicated very fast, right? It's complicated in Des Moines this morning because we've got different levels of the atmosphere doing different things. And what that means down at the surface is we're actually seeing freezing rain. So it's the rain that falls and it freezes on contact. We're going to be in this zone of freezing rain for the next couple of hours until we can get that warmer air into the afternoon. Just north of Des Moines, we have an even more complicated situation where we go from freezing rain, perhaps even over into some snow that lingers for the better part of the afternoon and evening before we bring this entire system to the east. And then it'll be out of here with that mild air moving in behind it. But until then, anywhere from 1/10 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch of ice is what you see in that lighter purple color. But you head just to the east, anywhere from 1/4 to 1/2 an inch of ice. That's where we're going to see some problems really start to stack up very quickly, Reynolds, as far as trees down, power outages, you name it.
Oh, there you go. I know that if you're on the roadways, you got one car.
Ice and the wintry mess to parts of Iowa, over into Illinois and northern Missouri, but stretching down all the way to Texas. Then we're seeing rain, a cold, kind of uncomfortable rain, but rain, and it's welcome across the south. Much of us still in some form of drought, so this is going to be beneficial. You'll notice where temperatures stay a little bit colder for the next couple of days. That's what you call cold air damming, especially in the morning hours around Atlanta and then up through portions of the Carolinas. Meanwhile, things warming up pretty quickly for our morning hours in areas like Montgomery and, of course, Florida, and then over into New Orleans and Texas. Here's the rainfall still to come. There's some spots, like, say, southern Missouri, that we could see pockets of 3 to 5 inches of rain. That will be beneficial. But even where we see 2 to 3 inches of rain, say from northern Mississippi back through Arkansas, northern Louisiana, Texas, all of these areas definitely could use it. I mean, we have been in drought. It was a very dry fall. Now we're spilling over into winter where we've had a couple of rounds of rain, but it hasn't been enough to chip away at the drought entirely. Here's the timing on this. Get ready, Arkansas. We're going to stay in the rain for the better part of the day. Memphis, then we start to see the rain move in for you. Nashville, the evening time through the overnight hours. That is good sleeping weather there in Nashville with heavy rain coming down and cold temperatures outside. And then you start to see the rain lose a little bit of its intensity. So we're not going to see quite as much in, say, North Georgia, Asheville, over into South Carolina, Greenville, over into that area. But we will still at least see some beneficial rain and even some lingering rain by the time we get to Monday morning. So, Reynolds, we're looking at least some beneficial rain moving in. I know it's not the best for weekend plans, but it's welcome.
Yeah, it sure is. We got to have it.
Meteorologist Jackie Jarris, who is in Cedar Rapids, Iowa this morning. Now, Jackie, the area is under an ice storm warning. You showed us earlier how everything already has that coat of ice on it, but we know we've got several hours left to go. So you're out there this morning showing people what it's like so they don't have to be out in it. When you look across much of the southeast, but we know that this very same system is pushing to the east, and as it does, it's bringing the rain with it. We have some colder air, especially in Asheville this morning, where we are below freezing to start off our Saturday. Tomorrow morning, the cold air lingers, especially closer to the higher elevation, and some cold air damming that's going on across portions of the southeast. But you can see for most of us, temperatures will be on the rise with 50s and 60s, and more of those building across the south as we get deeper into the week. There's Monday morning, and we've got 50s and even 60s for you in areas like Tallahassee as well as New Orleans. Now, as far as the rain goes, there'll be some spots that we see a healthy amount of rain, perhaps some pockets of 3 to 5 inches of rain, which is very, very helpful with all of the drought that's still going on across the south. But even 2 to 3 inches of rain will be extremely beneficial. The farther east you go, the intensity of this system tapers off a little bit, so you don't have quite as much rain that's anticipated, say, in northern Georgia or the Carolinas. Meanwhile, very intense rain falling in southern Missouri this morning, stretching into the Ozarks and then down through the Little Rock area. That will move to the east, so Memphis by this afternoon, Nashville by this evening, and through the overnight hours, this now moves into Asheville as well as the North Shore in the Midwest. You heard Reynolds talking about what's going on right now. Let's look into the future and see how long this zone of freezing rain is going to last, especially across the Des Moines area. Just north of that on the I-35 corridor, we're going to stay in snow for quite some time. Waterloo going over into the freezing rain, and then eventually temperatures warm up in the afternoon for Des Moines and areas to the south. But Waterloo, you kind of see a little bit of everything as far as the precipitation goes today as you switch over to snow later into the evening. Then this entire system starts to move to the east, and we are free of some of the wintry weather, at least for a short period of time. But until then, you heard Jackie talking about some of the accumulations that have already happened, and we're going to add more to that. Des Moines, anywhere from 1/10 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch of ice. You go just east of that, and that's where the amounts start to go up. And as they go up, as far as ice accumulations, then you start to see more problems. Now, looking into Minneapolis, it's not really the freezing rain this morning. It is all about the snow. It's not going to be a lot, and certainly nothing that we can't handle in the Twin Cities. And it's going to be very hit or miss for the first part of the day, and then we get into the afternoon, and then you're more solidly in the snow, heavy snow at times in the Twin Cities. Although, Reynolds, this will be very brief, and by tomorrow, we're quiet with some snow on the ground.
Yeah, just quick.